Hey guys, it's Mike, welcome to your weekly WoW. This week we've got some news and various different bits and pieces, including a very strange ghost that wants to murder me no matter what. Also, we're going to be going over some of the contestants for the 60-day time card. Don't forget you can still enter for that. Keep watching the video to find out how. But before all of that, we're going to go into our first segment, which is the news. Right, so one of the first pieces of news I want to go over today is that the Blood Elf models have made their way onto the PTR server. They are actually looking pretty good. As you can see in the background, I'm going to be cycling through some of the customization options for the male and female models whilst I go over this. But yeah, I know a lot of people have been waiting a very long time for this, and I do understand some Blood Elf players felt they got a little bit shafted when all the other models that needed it got an up-res and they kind of got left by the wayside. But to be honest, in my opinion, if any of the models were to be left till last, it would make sense for it to be the Blood Elves. They already actually looked pretty damn good in my opinion. And these new models, I think they add quite a bit more flavour. I've noticed that a lot of the faces, especially on the males, look a bit more hollowed. And I kind of like that. It sort of gives this whole look of starved, addicted, which makes sense when you look at the Blood Elf lore. I believe all Blood Elves are to a greater or lesser extent addicted to magical energy, and especially with the females I've noticed that they've got a lot more hairstyles, not so much with the men, so those fabulous Blood Elf men just have to deal with what they've got. But yeah, and they've added a few more emotes and things like that. The clothing seems to be slightly better as well in terms of the, I know the underwear model has definitely changed. There's a lot of people mentioned with the female Blood Elves. There's been a lot of female Blood Elves walking around naked. And as you can see, they're just showing some of the emotes in the background now. Going over their laughs and their emotes for talking and things like that. And generally speaking, they look quite good. I don't know if they're quite onto the level of the other ones yet, but generally speaking, I think these models are actually quite good. So yeah, I think that this is a good change overall. I mean, I know that the Blooders have been waiting a fairly long time for this, and as you can see in the background, quite a few people are enjoying the new female Blood Elf model. Probably a bit too much, so the internet's going to enjoy that. Male Blood Elves still have huge hands though, which is a bit bizarre, I suppose, but oh well. I did also want to quickly show you the casting animation for the male Blood Elf, as you can see right here. Sorry for any FPS lag, I'm recording this using my phone's internet on the player test server, so these are not the best of conditions. Fortunately, somebody managed to break my router, which sucks. So yeah, those are the new Blood Elf models. I hope you enjoy them. They're also making quite a few changes to the way that Garrison Missions work. Mostly in terms of quality of life. As you can see there, when I mouse over a Garrison mission, it tells me whether or not I can do that mission with the followers I have. Basically, it will show me which abilities I can and cannot counter. And it will also point out if a follower is just not quite up to snuff. As you can see there, I get a yellow exclamation point because my Blood Elf is just not got the item get level for this mission. So, you know, hinders my ability to complete it. Another thing they've changed is that, as you can see there, follower XP is now a lot more obvious. It shows you the amount of follower XP you'll get on the little tooltip there without having to mouse over it, which is a nice quality of life change. I'll always appreciate those. One other thing they've changed is that they've added this quest giver here. Now he'll change, it won't always be Sourfang. And the idea that is that anybody that goes to your garrison will be able to pick up these quests in your town hall, their dailies, and I think they work quite a lot like the tavern quests. However, they seem to be a bit more expansive. They will sometimes send you off into the world with some friends to kill elite mobs or whatever, alongside just normal quest mobs. That seems really cool to me. What's even more cool, from what I can tell, seems to be that you can sometimes, rarely, get items from these quests, which will be used to summon a world or raid boss to your garrison to be taken out by you and up to, I believe it's 39 other friends. It's scaled somewhere between 10 players and 40 players. Now, don't know about you, 40 player raid in my garrison? That sounds awesome. I can't wait to test this one out. And the last piece of news we have for today is the selfie camera, which has been added to WoW. It's a fun little toy which is rewarded from the Field Photography Garrison mission, which I believe is a level 100 Garrison mission, and it seems to be quite rare as of time of recording. I've been trying to get one for quite a while to show it off to you guys, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. So you're going to have to make do with quite a few photos that I've taken from Wowhead. The link to the site is in the description below, and the URL should be in the bottom right hand corner. I don't want to look like I'm trying to steal these images, it's just that it's all I could get hold of, and I wanted to show you guys something. Now, this seems like it's a fairly rare item. Like I said, I've been trying to get it for quite a while, and I know a lot of people have been raging about this. You know, selfies are one of those cultures that a lot of people dislike, especially in the kind of community of WoW. So I can see why people are getting mad, but honestly, actually I say that, I can't really see it. It's a bit of fun, you don't have to use it. It's with this Twitter integration that's been added to the game in the latest PTR build. I'll be taking a look at that next week. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's just a fun little item. It's upgradable as well to an epic selfie camera Mark II. That allows you to set various different filters, such as black and white, sketch, and also a depth filter. I'm not entirely certain what the depth filter is. I'm interested to see. But overall, this just seems like a fun little item. I can see it being quite handy if you could maybe make like custom form avatars with it. Something that I might use actually once I get it to make a new YouTube avatar. So yeah, overall, it looks like a pretty fun item, and it's just a bit of harmless fun, guys. I don't see why people are getting mad about this. And now it's time for Flying Solo. This week we're going to continue going into Ordoir with our Glory of the Ordoir Raider 10-man. We've also got a little something extra for you, so I hope you enjoy. Right, so this week, as I said, we're going to keep on with our Glory of the Ordoir Raider achievement. This week we're going to be over 4 different bosses, 3 of which are actually to do with the meta achievement. One of them is actually just a bonus boss, which I want to show you guys because you get a cool reward just for doing it, so I thought you might as well. Fair warning, this week's Flying Solo, to be honest, it's not going to be as in-depth as last week, simply because it doesn't have to be. A lot of these bosses, their meta achievements, are very, very simple. Yeah, you have to think about it to do them. You have to go slightly out of your way, but really not much at all. They are nowhere near the level of that bloody dragon from last week, which, by the way, is still defeating me. I suck. But yeah. Also, if you notice my UI changing throughout this video, that is because I'm on the PTR for part of it. Right, so first of all, you want to go to the Iron Council, and you want to use your Iron Boot Flask if you have one. If you don't worry about it. It's just for a little extra achievement that you can very easily get. For this meta achievement, you want to kill Steelbreaker last. The meta achievement goes by the name of I Choose You Steelbreaker. Steelbreaker is the big guy right there, you know, the giant. So you want to kill the other 2 first. It doesn't matter which order you kill those 2 in first, so long as Steelbreaker dies last. It's really not challenging at all. Just, I suppose, don't spam AoE. If you spam AoE, maybe you'll kill him first by accident, but, you know, I don't really see how you can mess this one up too much. So once those 2 are dead, feel free to just go ham on this guy. I don't know why I'm being a tryhard, but if you notice, for some reason I'm trying to dot weave now, which makes no sense against a boss of this level, but oh well. So there you go, you'll see I get the But I'm on Your Side achievement for having my Iron Boot Flask up, and the I Choose You Steelbreaker. You'll also notice I'm a giant now. The reason behind that is it's given me a debuff, which increases all damage I deal by 200%. The problem is that it will overload me. Overloading me means I die. That sucks because there seems to be no way that I know of to remove it. So if you do this achievement, chances are you're going to die if you get that debuff. I don't know, maybe it makes you a nice blocker or something. I'm not certain. Right, so here we have our little optional boss. It's worth doing this guy just because it's really quick and easy, and you actually get a title for it. There's no real tactics to him on this mode. In 25 mode, I believe if you don't have the DPS for it, you might despawn the boss because he'll like move you into a different plane of existence or something like that, and that tends to break on solo bosses. But in 10-man mode, you've got no real risk of that. You just DPS him down, he'll fall over, and you should get your achievement. Oh, by the way, if he does that and just stops, don't worry about it. That's not the game breaking. You've not messed anything up. I thought that I had died or something weird. No, he just sort of stops abruptly and decides to let you go. And there you go. You get the Observed achievement, which gives you access to the Starcaller title. I don't know. I think it's a cool title. I think it will work pretty well if you're like a Moonkin or something like that. But overall, it's alright. You get a bit of RP there. And if you want, you can take the quest in to activate the Raise Your Eyes to the Heavens and Observe event in Dalaran. Because, let's face it, who hasn't heard that a million times already? Okay, so now is for Kolgan. Kolgan is simple. The achievement from him is Disarmed, and it involves breaking both his arms and then his body within 10 seconds of each other. That's really simple nowadays, just AoE. Even I mess it up there, I just stop attacking for some reason, but even just spamming Mind Blast and Mind Flay, I immediately win. So yeah, it's really simple to do, don't worry about that one much. And the final achievement for today is Crazy Cat Lady. It involves killing the boss without killing either of her cats. That's really quite simple. I mean, it's not a hard achievement whatsoever. Just DPS her down, she'll fall down with a satisfying shriek, and you get the achievement. I don't get it here because I've already got it on a separate run. A lot of the achievements I got by accident, so, you know, that testifies how easy they are. So there you go. Wow, really nice shield. I love the loot from World War. It looks so good. But yeah, sorry this week is a bit simple, but I hope you enjoyed it regardless. And now it's time for Bits and Bobs. This is a weird one. I really enjoyed recording it. I hope you guys enjoy too. Right, so this week on Bits and Bobs, I'm going to show you a really weird quest mob I found from the Grass Weekends. It's a undead quest in Brill. It's part of a chain, so you have to go through a few quests. Look it up on Wowhead if you desire. So what you want to do first is you talk to this woman. She'll do a bit of RP and summon this, quote, ghost. Now, this ghost is a bit weird. The first thing I thought is, ooh, I'm going to try pulling him outside of his room because, you know, it'd be funny if I could actually do that. And I could. And then I realized he's very aggressive. And he just one-shots that level 10 player, which is interesting. The thing is that this quest spawns a mob who is one level above you, which means that when I do it, it spawns a level 101 mob who is very aggressive. As you can see, he just starts decimating the entirety of Brill. Only going after players, mind you. It seems as though anything that's between me and him, he'll just exterminate, which is really quite amusing. Though I can imagine quite frustrating for those who are being killed, so I do apologise. This was all in the name of testing and science, I swear. So as you can see there, he does go for the hunter and his pet. So after this I think, I've killed enough people. I wonder how far he can go, because he's left his little room, which is where I would have thought the aggro range was. So I thought, okay, let's try pulling him outside of Brill, because, you know, he's a bit weird. I wonder how far his aggro release is. So I try pulling him outside of Brill, and I think, oh, okay, let's try getting him across that bridge. First, I'm a bit worried about that guard, because I think, oh, he's a aggressive mob, the guard's probably going to go for him, but he'll probably kill the guard, so he'll be fine. No, actually, he goes for a zombie, but he ignores the shadow. And actually, the shadow has got very weird aggression, in that I mind-controlled him and tried to kill a mob with him, and he just couldn't do it. He can't target mobs, or guards, or anything. He just kills players. I can't kill a player with him mind-controlled, however. So after this I think, ooh, I wonder how far I can take him because he left Brill. And as you can see, I managed to take him to Sylvanas' camp in the next zone. Which really surprised me. And as you can see, he carries on his murder. A poor priest man just decides to heal me and gets splatted. So I'm very sorry for that. But after this, I had a better idea. So, what I did is I jumped on one of the Ettins, which moved me fast enough to actually get out of combat with him. At that point, I jumped on my rocket mount and decided to just fly cross zone until the edge of the Hillsbred foothills. And then I waited because I noticed that I was in combat again. And that really surprised me because I thought, wait, no, surely he's despawned because any mob, so far as I know, will pretty much run away after a set distance, I'd have thought. Like, they've all got that aggro leash of if you're too far away from them, they'll just lose interest and run away, right? As you can see, no. He has floated across the zone to get me. He just is so persistent, it's insane. He's actually been away for so long that he managed to regen mana. That's how long he's been chasing me. And unfortunately, as you can see, he knocks me off my mount, which sucks, and I'll have to walk for the rest of the way. So as you can see, we're taking a quick walk through Hillsbred Foothills. You know, that place that's 3 zones away. This is insane. Like, no mob should be able to do this. So I keep pulling him, and I think, ooh, let's take him to an Alliance town, because I've seen how he reacts to Horde players, but I don't know how he reacts to Alliances. So I decided, yeah, let's take him to a Horde town. Sorry, an Alliance town. That should be fun. So we tried to take him to Rafi Highlands. And man, this guy, the problem with kiting this guy is he's high enough level to daze you. So I just spend the entire time in daze. It's really frustrating, because he'll just knock me off my mount if he ever gets close. So I do move at a snail's pace. So we're on our way to Rafi Highlands now. We get in and yeah, our little friend despawns. So it would appear that he is not in fact leashless. He just has a leash that spreads from Trasfilgar Glades to Silverpine Forest to Hillsbred Foothills to Rafi Highlands. That is insane! How in the world does that mob have such a high aggro leash? To experiment, I did manage to take him into Undercity, however he got a bit confused by the elevators, and you can't bring him to Western Plaguelands, but that was the weirdest quest mob I've seen in a very long time, and I really look forward to trying to find more stuff like that. And last but not least, we have story time. One thing I did want to go over with story time, however, is I don't feel I was clear enough last week. The whole idea of the user-submitted stories is that they are meant to be applicable to the topic I give you. So last week the topic was Warlords of Draenor launch events, and I don't think people quite got that. I don't think I was clear enough. So this week, to enter the competition, I really want you to tell me your stories about what you did on the Warlords of Draenor launch day. What happened to you? You know, was anything fun, anything depressing? Let me know. But I want to know those stories. For last week, I'm going to let people off at basically anybody who commented with a story I've entered to win. So I'm going to be a bit stricter from now on. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that just to make sure we're clear. Comment with stories about the Warlords of Draenor launch event in order to enter to win the Time Guard. So yeah, without further ado, here is story time. So this week on Storytime, I'm going to be focusing a bit more on reading some of the user-submitted comments, rather than telling you one big story from me. So I'm going to be reading some user-submitted comments from Tomislav Horvat. I've probably mispronounced that because I'm an idiot. And he tells me of the time where he was starting up his first character. Having played on some private realms once or twice in the past, he decided he really wanted to play retail, as I think all should do. And he decided to level up his warrior first. He wanted to get a class that he felt like he could level up fairly quickly, but he could enjoy as well, once he hit level 100. So he tells me of the time that he went to Hellfire Peninsula for the first time, and was ganked by 4 players of the opposite faction. Now, he tells me of how he had actually PvP'd quite a bit in his private server, and knew how to handle himself. And when the 4 guys attacked him, he noticed one of them had managed to geniusly pull a few mobs. And so apparently he rushed him. He killed him and managed to heal up with Victory Rush and his Bloodthirst. And then he moved on to the next guy, managed to heal off him with another Victory Rush. And it seems like he's really turning the tide here. And I mean, I'm really impressed by this kind of story, like the whole idea of taking on a bunch of guys at once. And, you know, it's the kind of underdog thing, isn't it? Apparently one of the LA Shamans even tried to push him off a cliff. However, he just immediately charged back at him with very fast reflexes, managed to survive, and got the quadra kill. And that just sounds really cool. I like those sort of underdog stories, and I remember I had one, well, not really an underdog, when I was leveling up my Death Knight back in Wrath. I was in Hellfire Peninsula as well, and I was just capturing the little points that you get that increase. I think it increases your experience in the zone if your side contests them. So I'm trying to capture that point, and a couple of no mages decide to gank me, and I think they were 2 or 3 levels above me each. So there's 2 of them, and I think, ooh, I'm in trouble. And I realized, no, wait, I'm playing a Death Knight and completely overpowered at this point. And this is back when Death Knights couldn't even die properly. If you killed a Death Knight at that point in the game, they would just come back as a zombie. It was hilarious. I used to love that. If only they didn't take it out. I know it was imbalanced, but it was still fun. But anyway, they just went at me, and I remember I just kept killing them for about 20 minutes. And it was the most fun I'd had in a very, very long time at that point. Just because it felt so powerful, you know, cleaving your way through multiple foes. And I can totally tell why this guy decided to tell me that story, because, you know, at the end of the day, it feels so cool when you manage to do something like that. You feel awesome. Another user decided to tell me his story about when he was flying from Ghostlands to the Plaguelands for the first time. Apparently the flight master decided that he didn't want to go to the Plaguelands. Apparently it glitched out and threw him through the world, at which point he glitched out into Hellfire Peninsula. Which must have been very confusing, especially if it was his first time there. Just sort of like, well, this isn't undeady, now I'm just sort of on fire. So yeah, that story comes from Gundren. Gundren? Gundren. Sorry, Gundren, I'm terrible at your name. But yeah, so I don't really have any stories like that, though just weird glitches like that happen all the time, and I think they really do make some of the best stories. Just, it's the unexpected, you know? Planning something and then having a good story from it is good in its own way, but those weird, unexpected things, like that quest mob I showed you, can lead to such amazing stories, and that's what I like. And that's it for this week. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really would appreciate any support you can give in terms of likes, comments, or subscriptions. It really does help us, and I really would appreciate it. You know, I'm trying to start this up, and any help you guys can throw me is really appreciated. So yeah, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.